And another season of the NBA on ESPN is underway.
Let's go!
Deep three. Tyler Hero. Oh, he hit it.
We have a liftoff.
Leonard.
Welcome into Hoop Streams and happy birthday to the GOAT, Michael Jordan. I shaved my head just for this occasion. We're live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and the ESPN app. We're leading you into the 76ers versus the Rockets. I'm Christine Williamson. I'm not here by myself. I got Treavor Scales and Gary Striewski.
Twins today.
Yes.
Can you see the resemblance?
Gang.
I'm so confused.
Michael Jordan did not
45.
turn 55 today. He is 58, but it would have been a nice symmetry had he turned 55.
This would have been a
'cause we
great
got the
show
five.
3 years ago.
But we digress and we move on.
All right, before we talk about the GOAT and before we talk about the matchup that we're leading into, let's take a look back with a little NBA rewind. I don't know why there was an R in the second part of that word. All right, we start with the most aggressive celebration. This Nets versus Suns. Down one with just over 30 seconds remaining. James Harden, he drills this step back three. And then KD just decides to push Kyrie with, by the way, he was out because of a sore back, so probably not the best
And he got like
idea.
a finger situation going on there. Like,
Two things here. Katie's been wanting to do that. First of all, listen, KD has been wanting to just, to Kyrie for whatever reason, and he didn't even get full extension with those 18-foot arms. So had he done that, it would have been game over. But there was some oomph behind that one. But it's all brotherly love. By the way, Kendall Jenner was taking pictures with people in the suite. She was there watching her man D-Book. It was awesome.
I didn't know where that was
oh,
about to
yeah,
go.
hey, okay.
I just saw it on the Sports Center Instagram page as well. See Synergy. Company
Sure you
Synergy.
follow that.
She also posted a picture of D-Book on Valentine's Day. That was the first time they got IG official.
Where are we
if we're
going?
Where are we going? Might as well go there. Okay, let's go best yin and yang. Last night, Grizzlies versus Pels. Ja Morant tees up and then buried a three-pointer from the logo. I mean, amazing, right? Let's check in
this is hilarious.
on LeBron James in Minnesota because he did the same thing. No, he didn't do the same thing. He tried.
He tried.
It was an attempt. And this happened.
I want to believe that Savannah texted and was like, hey, boo, I'm going to be watching. Because you know how you just do extra stuff when you know he or she is at the game /and/or watching. So I just want to believe that Savannah was like, hey, I'm watching tonight.
They say when you're getting old, the legs are the first thing to go. And that's what happened with that jump shot.
A more scientific approach, I see Trevor is taking.
My favorite part of the whole thing is what CJ McCollum tweeted because he said,
Also
logo
funny.
Bron. That was hilarious.
A1.
Good job. No shade at all. All right, let's go to most shook. Last night, fourth quarter between the Pels and the Grizz. Ja Morant, let's go back to him. Check out this dunk.
Yeah, he's
That's just disrespectful.
He just cocked it back to, he from somewhere in South Carolina.
South Carolina,
yeah.
And
He cocked it back to there.
his buddy that's also from South Carolina, he played basketball with him, AAU, Zion Williamson was also, that's the shook guy.
It's a good thing that he had the mask over his mouth. He probably said an expletive that we should probably be censoring.
Which one, Trevor?
Whoa, hey, you trying to get me
I feel
kicked
like
off
low
the show.
key. I feel
do
like
that.
honestly low key you could say it because I mean we've just been doing all kind of stuff on the
Is this
show,
the
so I
internet?
wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, it's the internet.
Heck yes.
No, that's not how
Let's
any of this
go
works.
to worst free throw. We're talking about air balls, and this
Yeah,
is
this is
actually
funny.
super odd. I can make a free throw, so I'm very curious as to how this happened for Russ because he airballed it.
Can you dunk?
I used to be able to, Barry.
Sky, C-Dub.
I just love how he stares at the rim as if it moved on him. Why would you do that?
I could have swore you were closer. Everybody looked at their hand when they missed it. I stared at my hand during games. I was like, you betrayed me again.
That or
Right.
drying the shorts, like as if that was the issue.
What exactly does that mean? You're like looking at your hand. What are you doing? It's not the rim. It's you. It's definitely you. All right,
I beg to
filthiest
differ.
no look. Sunday night, Lakers versus the Nugs. This no look pass from Facundo Campazzo. Nasty.
Facundo was dealing, yo. And everything in slow-mo, that much saucier.
Hey.
Even at LeBron.
Kuzma, the victim, and he always gets roasted, so this did not help his case.
He said, oh, there it goes.
It's like right past his face. That is actually very embarrassing. It's slow motion, it makes it look like the dude is
So
just not paying
terrible.
attention.
It's so
bad. All right, most selfless act. This is, okay. The thing that was great about this was the tweet, but let's just explain what's happening here. Wizards at TD Garden facing the Celtics. Bradley Beal went to go get the ball. He climbed all the way under there to grab it, and it was very selfless.
I don't know why he's giving so much to a franchise that is giving him
Exactly.
Like, first of all,
Who's to say he wasn't trying to escape? Also,
fair.
the comments are
Super valid.
maybe he's looking for some help.
That's the tweet that I loved. Is he looking for help under there? Like what
He ain't
exactly
gonna find
is
it.
going
Not
on?
that
Far and wide.
All right, so we're gonna go to Spurs versus Hornets for this next one. Best dance lesson, and this one we're going to tee up because you need to hear this.
Okay.
Oh, Terry! You're kidding me!
Don't do him like that, Scary.
I want that same energy from every play-by-play announcer on every single game. Just start hollering into the mic every time somebody gets just mixed up.
It was a free throw, Rick. Oh, okay, never mind. The hezi is just such an underappreciated move that snatches lives, souls, and in this case, ankles. And the finish was just, mwah, it was fantastic.
What's more embarrassing, getting dunked on or getting your ankles
Dunked
broken?
on.
Okay.
Will just being physically imposed on you. There's
yeah.
just, ain't nothing worse than that.
I think that makes sense. All right, let's go to best Valentine's gift. Warriors. I love Klay Thompson. I really do. This is him on a boat.
Big old
He tweeted and said,
I promise you that
Happy
blues on sneakers,
Valentine's
we
Day.
wouldn't get it.
ELE, which means everybody love everybody.
Okay. I just have questions logistically as to how he got himself up there.
It's a small boat. He's a big man.
But it's all the up is the part that I'm worried about. Like not necessarily just on the boat, but like getting up to that height without one of your legs. That's a lot of tricep work.
That's
or
true. He
like
is,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My guy was really willing to risk it all for the Insta post, which I'm not knocking. He's got time on his hands right now, but we've seen how choppy the water is in the San Francisco Bay, and that is just disaster waiting to happen. Godzilla had trouble with the Golden Gate Bridge. Jiminy.
Do you feel like the boat was actually moving?
It was on water, so I would say yes.
Yeah. By default, I'm gonna just
I
say
didn't know if he
that.
was like out to sea or if he was just docked. Who knows?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's go to most disrespectful slam. Grizz versus the Kings Sunday night. Jonas Valanciunas, Chimezi Metu decided to hang on the rim. And Valanciunas, I don't know which part is the most disrespectful slam. Is it the dunk or is it the fact that Valanciunas threw him to the ground?
Well, okay, so here's the thing. You try to give yourself a, that's not a piggyback ride, right? Like that's like above a piggyback ride on another grown man. He's probably gonna react pretty poor.
Yeah, the back half of that sort of move after the dunk was generally something you have to pay for in establishments. So I am on Valanciunas' side. You probably should have taken the measures to get him off of you.
Where is your jersey in the rafters, Gary? Like, where exactly can we find your presence in these establishments?
Just look up.
Okay.
Just look up. I'm also hanging up in the Buffalo Wild Wings in Colorado.
Ew.
That's a fact.
That sounds great. All right, so like I said, it's Michael Jordan's birthday. We're all here to celebrate. And to do that, we're going to celebrate some of his style. I personally believe that 90s style is some of the best ever. I would love to go back to that time because you wore baggy jeans and like all the prints and stuff like that. So we're going to celebrate with looking at some of MJ's best looks.
I'm with that.
Starting with track suits, because I feel like they're kind of coming back. You know how style like comes back?
Oh yeah, it's all
I feel like
cyclical.
tracksuits are totally coming back now.
No doubt. No, and I think like the bright colors above all else is like what's gonna hit once again. And like I'm such a fan of this fit in particular, the windbreaker. It's so cold.
Yeah.
The only bad thing, or the good thing about this was I'd be rocking tracksuits in elementary school and just sitting in school feeling like an athlete when you hear the just sharpening my pencil.
And
but I
the
felt like
wind-
an athlete.
And the wind really blows through that suit pretty well.
almost as if
that
it's a
like thin
windbreaker.
material. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. All right, let's talk about wearing jeans to throw out a first pitch. Honestly, impressed.
With the Nuba kicks?
Wait, so we're just not gonna recognize the Canadian tuxedo? Like, are we saying when we say jeans?
I'm fired up about this fit,
Denim on
bro.
denim on
Yeah.
denim.
He's getting this off, dude.
Is he?
Yeah, and the
can't-
form
Are
of the
you?
pitch.
What about it? Don't you like, Trev?
The fact that it's all denim. What you mean?
So are you really gonna say that that's a problem when I've worn denim on denim multiple times in this?
I'm
on this
trying
show?
to be a kind person,
This drama.
and I didn't
Wow.
want to.
Wow.
Hold on.
You not remember when I wore denim on denim on
I
denim?
do.
I had denim shoes on.
You rocked it, and I'm not taking that
It's
away
a
from
look.
you, Christine.
It's a look. It's a look. And
Our
I feel
control
like,
room needs to let you guys air this out right now.
all right, let's talk about this Space Jam suit. I honestly, I don't like the what is that? quarter neck.
Mock
or
turtleneck.
Mock turtleneck.
Yep.
I don't like those because they're odd. It's like, what are you doing? Are you an actual turtleneck or are you not?
It's just hilarious because Gary and I were talking pre-show about how much we like this.
You gotta have the right physique.
What?
Look how long that cigar is. If I smoked half that, I'd have asthma. We don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about Stan Kroenke in the background right now trying to buy the Avalanche right now as we speak. Anyway, there's a lot going on in this picture. Hey, there's some rush hour right here.
I hate this.
The
also.
triads?
It's not great.
Man's part of June Tao's clique with this one.
How many buttons do you think that flap is higher?
36. 36 with a zipper.
You don't think it's a zipper? I was going to say, I feel like it's a zipper.
That's got buttons with the zip.
¿Por qué no los dos?
This fit is fire. And look how broad my man's shoulders are.
It's
Bring
as
this
big as
back.
Bugs Bunny's head. All right, baby tux Mike, how are we feeling about this? I feel like anybody that can rock a tux with the smoke and the basketball, I mean, that's straight.
Oh, this is flawless
Yeah.
execution. You know, simple look, nothing too crazy about it, but fire nonetheless.
Also, that Chevrolet in the background, S10 Blazer, bring it back one time.
Say
Two-tone?
word. Wait,
that
I was
on
getting ready to say,
a
was that like the
basketball
wood
court,
grain?
What?
Was that on a basketball court?
I'm pretty sure.
All right, golf Mike, how do we feel about this?
Fire.
Shorts, A1.
Calves.
Let's not forget the cap also.
Everything about this fit.
Does he have like Jordan golf shoes like before they were even a thing? Like
course
I
he did.
Had to, right? He had the golf spikes installed on the shoe he was wearing that night.
Take the one silhouette, cut off the sole.
This is my favorite outfit of all time. I've been looking for something similar.
Dog.
The pattern on pattern.
Dog, I'm right there with you on this
Oh
one.
my God.
This is undefeated. This look is undefeated. Like again, the bright colors, like the loose fit, everything about it. I'm just glad it's not a romp him.
But it could be. Cam Newton's like, I could do wonders with that. So he debuted this in the 92 Barcelona Olympics, correct?
Yeah.
Around
Yes.
that same
Yes.
time frame. So we're almost 30 years removed from that. Wow, we are getting old. They need to bring it back.
Yes.
What do you mean
They
we?
absolutely need to bring it back. We are all 30 years removed from 1992, C-Dub.
Okay,
That's how math works.
Regardless, that was magical to take a journey through time.
Those
through the
fits are
aesthetic
crazy.
of the 90s, but I think we got some more magic, Christine.
All right, people, it's time to check out this season's magical moments presented by Chevrolet. And we start on February 2nd, Toronto versus Orlando.
As
You
we
guys
should.
remember that? This
Yes.
game, it wasn't that long ago. Fred VanVleet absolutely went off. He set the Raptors franchise record, 54 points, including 11 three-pointers.
And somehow, some way, DeMar DeRozan found a way to take out Kyle Lowry, just unnecessarily so. It was completely uncalled for.
Not to take away from the fact that Fred VanVleet is an absolute trailblazer in and of his own right. Wasn't drafted. Everybody thought that he was just lucky to be on the Raptors team that won the championship because Kawhi was there. And then Kawhi left, and then Fred VanVleet became a bona fide scorer, first, second option next to Pascal Siakam. We won't talk about that. Got himself the Baggeroni and then the deserved post-game water celebration after breaking that record.
I'm glad you mentioned
Everything is
I'm
deserved.
so glad you mentioned paid, but like this is the type of thing that only goes down on an equinox of sorts.
He
Of
was
course, everything has to
also
align.
the most points in an NBA game by an undrafted player in the history of the NBA. Buddy Hield, December 23rd, Nuggets versus Kings. He gets the tip in at the buzzer, and then he says goodbye.
Later.
Yo, he downshifted like a little Camaro and was like, skirt, I'm
But-
out, go to the
but-
locker room. That's what we're celebrating.
That might be Corvette speed that you seen up over that court. That was immaculate. I love everything about this joint.
Which the Kings are actually kind of a fun team to watch.
So
Obviously,
excited.
They have Halliburton, who obviously, if it wasn't for LaMelo Ball doing his thing, would be like the marquee rookie that we're talking about, even though we are still talking about him quite a bit.
And not to mention De'Aaron Fox.
January 3rd,
Also-
Warriors taking on the Blazers. Steph Curry with the shot, boy. 62 points. It was an amazing game. I mean, he's just a bucket. We can't deny that.
I am still so tired, though, of Steph Curry having to load up the Suburban every single game and be like, everybody in, I got to go try to win this game, which they won in the 62 career high game, but he's also had a 57-point affair, which they lost to the Mavericks, and so on and so forth. So yes, while individually he is fun, and obviously he's going to get his every single night, he is must-see TV. Help him!
Yes.
Help him!
Yes, it's not like he have Clay anymore. Like they can probably just take that head down to Malibu if they need to for a vacation.
Let's talk about the original Melo. That is this Melo. He moved past Oscar Robertson to 12th on the all-time scoring list. That was February 10th. of this year.
See, Dub, I'm glad that you said the original Melo because there is a fine line between like Gen Z and millennials.
Man,
like,
listen.
Melo, what are you talking about? But this guy has truly been the spark for the Trailblazers. Obviously, CJ's going to get his, Dame's going to get his, but Carmelo Anthony continues to be the spark when they need him.
3 to the dome if you ever need it.
February 6th, Nuggets versus Kings. The Joker, the dad bod god, I think that's what you like to call him, Gary. He scored 50 in a losing. I mean, I feel bad for saying this, but they lost to the
Boy, you emphasize losing like a mug. Loser.
Oops, sorry.
He's the most exciting athlete right now in Colorado.
That is certainly high praise for the Joker. Trev, I feel like you guys have some of the most electric duos in the NBA. Do we?
Now, obviously, plenty of the magic is carried by our point guard and Christine Williamson.
We know
But
that.
Gary Striewski and I make up quite the dynamic duo, and we got a pair of dynamic duos getting after it tonight in John Wall and Boogie Cousins and Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid.
Okay, I agree with you that they're dynamic, but the key word of this exercise is top 5. And
Right.
No disrespect to both of those duos, but I don't think they cracked that conversation.
That's fair, right? That is the upper of upper echelon. Like, we're talking top 5 here, and I think when we get into who is at the top of said top 5,
You guys are
look,
going to be absolutely shocked.
right, like this is, there's no way that this could have been the case. LeBron and AD, I don't know how else you go, what else are you going to pick here?
Oh my gosh, Treavor Scales, I am so shocked.
Going out on a limb.
Obviously they team up, win a chip. Depending on who's eating any given night, either of these jokers can take over a game at a moment's notice, and we've seen that on display plenty of times. All that to be said, they're not even the best team in the Western Conference.
By record.
By record, yes, of course. But this team, this next duo, has been absolutely on a tear. Not just this season, but we've seen this sort of build to this kind of crescendo in Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. And it's a perfect give-and-take relationship.
Yep.
Rudy doesn't need to eat offensively, but obviously Spidey's going to get him the wrong look. I'm just going to throw it up. Listen, I'm just going to throw it up.
Just be there.
And you do the rest. Obviously, Rudy is the absolute commodity on the defensive end, but when Spider's not doing his thing offensively, Rudy's just busting down in the paint. So I have to put these guys top 5, especially because I think the Jazz have won 18 of 19 or whatever the case may be,
Yes.
and they're the best
19
team
of 20 of them.
record-wise in the NBA.
Yeah, and that's all good and well. I understand basing it off of the numbers that we have to date. But you're not going to sit here and tell me that Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant are not better than those two. Like, when we look at these two jokers, there's no way that we're going to sit here and lie to ourselves and know the offensive production that both of these two provide in being able to, 1, create their own shot if you're Kyrie Irving, and 2, if you're Kevin Durant, being able to work off ball flawlessly and shown that he can take whatever role you need him to.
Here's the thing. I'm not disrespecting this duo. However, they've both have missed substantial time.
Yeah.
So really, they've only been on the court for about a little less than 2/3 of the season together. I'm not taking away the validity of those guys being top 5 players individually in the association, but they just haven't been on the court as much as I think I would like them to be. Obviously, they're going to be a problem. Second in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, I'm not taking away from them individually, but as a duo, I would like to see them both healthy on the court, obviously, with James Harden in a more substantial role and stop missing too many games. And that's why I didn't put them 2.
Not to mention defensive liabilities. I think like we could just kind of.
Oh, you needed me to say that?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we were all clear on that.
Okay.
That's all.
Number 4, this is a little bit of a dark horse pick, but I am going to go with the Young Guns in Boston. I like Jason Tatum and I like Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is one of the most under-talked about two-way players in the game. I think he's finally going to get that all-star recognition he deserves. Jason Tatum is going to be blossoming this now his 4th full season into the superstar that I think people expect him to be in Boston. Kemba's a non-factor currently as this team is made up right now. So I just like what Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have been doing. I think they're a little bit of the same player, but they're carrying the lion's share for Boston.
Well, yeah, but it goes back to that two-way concept, right?
Sure.
Like, you know that Jaylen Brown is going to give you a level of solidness on both ends of the floor, similarly to Jason Tatum. Now, I could dispute directly
right now,
with Ford, right?
You're leaving a lot of people.
I know, there's so many, bro.
There's so many good options.
There's so many
good options.
But I will slide. I meant to do this here, right? Just imagine that we still had the 3 slot covered. But despite that, the 5 slot, I do have the Nuggets in Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. Now, I understand that Nikola, in his 3 games of scoring 40 plus, they've gone 1-3, and that's less than ideal, to say the least. And they need a third scorer in the worst way on that roster. But I do think there's something to be said for how well Nikola facilitates that offense and how well Jamal is able to create within that. He knows he's always going to have that shooter stance ready because that ball can be coming to him at any given moment. And he has the ability to kind of take over a scoring drought if need be.
You say that duo, and I just say the Joker carries the lion's share of that duo and that responsibility. So it's good, well, and fine. And obviously that's one formidable duo in the West. I just think Nikola Jokic is like 75% of what makes up that dynamic duo. So in that place, I'm either putting in Kawhi and PG, who said he was going to play at that all-star level, and we were like, but are you really in a third of the way through the season? And he has. Or
CJ McCollum,
Dame and CJ. I would put them there. I don't want to mess with the full screen because, I'm not good at it. But give me Dame and CJ in the 5 slot there, the best.
And not to mention,
because they have been for the last half decade.
And there's also Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, right?
Oh, yeah, those guys.
Yeah, the MVP candidate and the dude who just scored a career-high 42 points on the evening. So we will kind of spin this thing right on back to tonight's matchup. Get you ready for Sixers and Rockets.
Star players are going down left and right.
It's going to be like this probably throughout the course of this year.
We just got to keep rolling with the punches.
Kind of had flashbacks of being back in college. It's a really cool feeling.
Boogie Cousins gets a basket courtesy of Mr. Wall.
People will have to make a lot of decisions when we run pick and roll.
That's a brothers for life, so I'm extremely excited to be on the floor with them.
This year is all about being the best player in the league.
Dominate for a slam. Oh, yeah.
Simmons.
Black History Month is all 12 months from it. We celebrate Black excellence every single day of the year.
Because there's certain things that our elders went through that we've never experienced. You got to keep teaching one another and understand that how in the world can you know where you're going if you don't know the past and the history?
You love to see it. I feel like I haven't said this on the show yet, so happy Black History Month. We got the Rockets versus the 76ers. That's at 7:30 p.m. on ESPN. And to talk ESPN to talk about that game, we're going to welcome in our good sis, Ros Gold-Onwude. And Ros, I'm going to start on the 76ers side. Ben Simmons made headlines late last week because he said, I feel like I'm the best defender in the NBA. He made the NBA All-Defensive Team last season, and he was 4th in Defensive Player of the Year voting. What do you think? Is he due for that award?
I think he needs to be at the top of the list in this conversation. And I'm really glad to see that Ben Simmons spoke up and made this really bold kind of statement, because what it's going to do is bring attention to his game and eyes to it. And you need that, because typically, guys, with the Defensive Player of the Year award, the flashy, eye-catching stats are who's leading the league in blocks, who's leading the league in rebounds. But to truly appreciate the full impact of all that Ben Simmons' game can do, you've really got to watch it to understand how his effort might change the momentum of a game, or how his length and his size and his speed all combine to help him with versatility, so that in one game you may see him lock up possessions in a row against Damian Lillard. And then in another game, Joel Embiid is out. Well, cool. Ben Simmons is matched up against Rudy Gobert. You see that versatility. And if you are somebody who needs stats, Ben Simmons is top 5 in the league in steals. He's absolutely active getting deflections, and he needs to be at the top of these conversations for Defensive Player of the Year. But you got to watch to see it.
Now, his point guard counterpart in John Wall has been on a revenge tour of sorts. We saw him Monday night put up 29 despite the 12-point loss. But still, he believes that the Rockets have a chance at the postseason. So what do you believe Houston's chances are for getting to the dance at the end of this?
Look, I'm never just going to say never. Also because the season is very young, and this Rockets team has already overcome a lot. But I don't at this moment see them making the playoffs. Perhaps they're just not good enough, but also because the teams ahead of them are just better positioned, I feel, to make a playoff push. You look at the Rockets right now, they're 13th in the West. They've lost 6 games in a row, all to teams that are sub 500. and they've been banged up. They've been without Christian Wood, they've been without Victor Oladipo, but you look at the West, there have been other teams. Look at the Trailblazers that have still been able to come up with wins even without their full roster. And don't forget, the Rockets may have more changes coming, may be active before the trade deadline, further shaking up an already tumultuous season for them. Look, coming out of the All-Star break, I see the Warriors, the Mavs, the Nuggets, the Grizzlies, all of them making strong pushes for the playoffs, further boxing out the Rockets.
On the flip side of that, Ros, unless something catastrophic happens with the Sixers, they are sitting comfortably atop the East, and a lot of credit, most of the credit, all of the credit going to the synergy now of Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. We're talking about him defensively. Now we're flip side talking about him offensively. Everybody for the longest time was like, they can't coexist. They can't coexist. I want to give a lot of credit to Doc Rivers, but the synergy is finally there. Is this the ceiling that we've finally seen from them? They've been together now full-time 4 seasons.
It's definitely not the ceiling. But I'll also say I do see the synergy there. I think they're still growing together. It's not done yet. But this is the best iteration so far. And I think it starts with the fact that both Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are having stellar individual seasons. And then it also was coming together and working because of the cast around them. And, look at the top. I think Doc Rivers has had a tremendous impact on this team mentally as well. And you look at how he might have impacted a player like Tobias Harris, who has never looked more comfortable, confident, aggressive than he has this season as a 76er. You look at this team and they've added some answers to how can you create spacing for Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid to play together. Well, you got Seth Curry, you got Danny Green, whether they're hitting a three or not, they're creating spacing. Now, the main key, though, is that this 76er team continue to improve over the course of the season. So over this last road trip where they lost 3 of 4, they learned they need more production out of their bench. Their bench just had come up short for them. They also are not realizing their full defensive potential. This 76ers roster could be so good on defense. They have so many individual players who have a lot of defensive potential. And then look, it is the modern NBA. And as a team, they could be more powerful from the 3-point line.
So, Ros, we found out that Ben Simmons is actually out for the matchup tonight. What do you think that means for the 76ers?
Well, I think that means that, you're going to have to get more production creating for each other. And one of the issues with that second unit actually was the ball movement, and this is going to further exacerbate that problem, moving the ball, playing with pace, and creating shots for each other. One of the things that makes Ben Simmons so valuable is not just the points he's putting up, but how he creates pace off of a rebound and how he makes offense easier for everyone else around him.
I want to go back to the Rockets really fast because you mentioned earlier how Victor Oladipo has been banged up for the Rockets. He obviously got to Houston in January, and the trade deadline, I believe, is about 5 weeks away now. So do you feel like Oladipo is going to be in a Rockets jersey at the end of all of this?
That's an interesting question. And I see Victor Oladipo being a great asset on a team that is much closer to being a contender than the Rockets are currently. And whether the Rockets want to say this out loud or not, they're in a rebuild. They're accumulating draft picks, and their timeline is just simply not for right now. It's for way further in the future. And you look at Victor Oladipo, who's on an expiring contract, who has been rumored to have other destinations that he favors. He's going to be a hot commodity in this free agency class, which the top players of this free agency class, many of them have already committed to extensions before this season. So I would imagine that the Rockets try to get as much as they can before the trade deadline. So
you mentioned it was a rebuilding season. I'm just going to ask you this quickly. I feel like I know your answer. Who do you have in the matchup tonight?
Look, I think the 76ers, not only might have more talent, even with Ben Simmons out, I think they need this game right now. They're coming off of 3 losses in a row, and they're finally returning home. So I think that's going to help the 76ers come out on top here. And don't forget, even though Ben Simmons is out, Tobias Harris just came off of a strong game. There's momentum even within those losses. So I think they'll pull this one out at home.
The Rockets are 6-10 away. So good thing that they're not in Houston with all the things that are happening in Texas right now, but probably not that good on the court. Thanks so much, Ros, for joining us.
Yep. All my hearts and just thoughts out to everybody in Texas.
Yeah, it's definitely rough out there in Texas. So, yeah, thoughts and prayers to everybody down there. I have plenty of people in Texas that are struggling right now. So, hopefully they're able to come out okay at the end of this. But I want to ask you guys about this matchup. We got the Rockets, who are 14th in the West, and, of course, the 76ers, who are number 1 in the East. Who do you guys have in this matchup, Trev?
No Ben Simmons. JoJo, if he is available, will have to carry. And, look, I'm going to ride with the better team out of the East, just by default, I guess. We'll go with the Sixers.
Joel Embiid has been carrying, whether Ben has or hasn't been playing. So I'm going to rock with the Sixers as well. One of the best teams at home, first place in the East. I don't see any signs of them stopping against the Rockets team that's hasn't figured it out yet.
Okay, I want to do this exactly how Treavor told me not to. Shout out to Treavor and Sports Nation.
Oh, check out our guy.
Because our guy is on Sports Nation Monday through Friday on ESPN Plus. You got to check it out. How's it been going, Trev?
It's been great. It's been a dang good time. Y'all should get involved. ESPN Plus every morning, bright and early. Log in, check it out. It's a good time. I can assure you of that much.
You love to see it. All right, we got Rockets versus 76ers. That's on ESPN. Watch it right now. If you're watching in the app, you might as well just watch it right here. Authenticate, hang out. We'll see you guys next Wednesday.
You like it better than SportsCenter Snapchat, Trevor?